Dominic Francisco presents Bound Unto Root Bludgeon. The laws of man. I'm living next to myself. My stomach is gone. I cannot be whole until I tell you this. Please, let me confess. Let me exhale. I've done something irreversible. I'm in the car, coming home from I don't even remember what. Nothing precedes this. This is where life starts. Everything that transpired prior to this moment is a paltry vignette of the crossroads of my existence. Fleeting postcards that depict landscapes I could have called home instead of this wretched avenue. What appendage wouldn't I offer to rewrite my epitaph? Instead, I sit in my car at San Pablo and Washington. Its vinyl dashboard glimmers in laminate splendor. Mists of stale coffee hover languorously. A milky plain tea, identical to his multi-pack brethren, clothes my gaunt frame. He isn't silk, but he is a noble Seward. A more lavish comfort is the titillation of cigarette smoke drifting from felt flooring. I don't usually indulge in such luxuries in this cabin, but these fragrant markers of exception remain. A jaded necklace hangs from the rearview mirror. It swings with the accents of the road, a dancing remnant of heartbreak. Emerald traffic lights validate my pace. A man approaching retirement canters past the lip of the curb. His curb, the one he should be perched on. One could be kind and assume this to be an oversight, but any notion of innocence is deflowered by what he does next. This wrinkled toddler makes eye contact. I'm looking straight at him. He's grinning at me. He's forgotten his place. Genteel levee gives way. Primordia floods my lids. I'm being challenged. This paleolith is really doing this. Climbing the rubble pile higher than his forefathers. How the arrogant evolve. Below raised brow, his expression goads. You must stop and ignore common sense for me. I am exercising my birthright to cross. Cosmic maths assure this. You must oblige. They say so, I say so, and we own you. You are our plaything and will abide by our itinerary. Your desires do not matter. Obey, doggy. Stop the car. Tricks of hypnosis will not persuade my scalding sanctity. I am no wandering stooge. I know what is right and what is delusion. I will not give credence to his deception. I know exactly who he is. This man serves the growing cult of me first. He is one of the emerging vandals of compassion, a scourge of hooligans who deface the gravestones of the generous. Their plague repaves streets and sidewalks alike with mindless ego. Those who howl cruelties over the voiceless, who froth and chew loudly, who step in front of my vehicle. These alkalites breed societal cysts. First, they appear as a blemish, shrouded in insignificance, but neglect allows them to fester. This boil will erupt if nothing is done. A spattering of inhumanity looms inside its walls. Surgery is required. I am speeding towards another moment, another crossroad, a definable path to a different life. But the fork ahead of me presents a second lane, the expressway of forgiveness. I want to cherish commonality, to rest in a teacup with him, lapping correctness into each other's mouths. I'll reach down with him to a merciful drawer and pull out the proper cutlery for our picnic of misconception. There we'll discover bread knives, not serration. I want this traveler to value me, not to look at me in jest. I do not want him to perceive my actions as foolish in the public arena. Please just be nice to me. Be a little lamb with me and we'll get along. I'm doing the right thing, I promise. Trustworthy gardeners have nurtured that seed. Please live in its stems. Please don't be a wolf. I'm scared to be different from you. Muscle memory of vulnerability is defenseless to seething volatility. I desperately heave to keep tread above crashing waves of urge, but vigor dunks my head under the sea. Bestial heel suffocates pedal. His face is stapled to my fender. Their union freezes beneath the lake of time. Though a metallic aftertaste is seared into the bowels of my consciousness, no words can replicate his expression. I wade, frightened in a pool of disintegration. Fossilized hysteria, breaded in excrement and garnished with a pinch of elation. Finally, the traitorous voice of justification huffs. Something remarkable. After that decimal of paradise, that single frame of satisfaction, his physical form is gone. He lasts only as sound and force, as the thump in the night that hinders dreams. Abel has made me Cain. This small, docile, unassuming man forever brands me, because I bit the apple of temptation. Despite my intentions of a faithful farmhand, I have consumed serpentine bait. Thawed reverie melts before bottomless realism. He was another person with his own beliefs and insecurities and autonomy. He hung his towels from a curtain rod. He rolled his socks down instead of buying at ankle length. He stopped eating sweets long ago, but still made nightly dessert for his wife. He kissed her on the cheek before turning the lights out. He polished his glasses, left eye first. He ate from the same 4 combinations every lunch. He had comforting platitudes for the most menial of inconveniences. He smiled at strangers on his daily strolls. Even me. He embraced life with the surest sincerity, trusting purely that the world would smile back and stop when he needed it most. I took that earnesty from us all. I have stolen what I can never give back. He returns only in the permanence of grief. Clouded curtains draw. A beam of eternal regret warms my unprepared skin. I'm burning with him. Cherubs, trumpeters, porcelain figurines of authority will rummage tirelessly for me. They know I am their fugitive now. I cannot show my face in my hometown, where I belong, where I've cultivated an identity, where I am who I am, because I couldn't graze on seconds, because I couldn't chew the cud of inconvenience, because I couldn't tolerate living in a sty. My flickering solar plexus scurries about, abandoning the driver's seat. It races down San Pablo and towards where I'll be turning up Castro and on to Jackson, to my barricade on the hill, my fortress, my refuge. But before I can enact proper choreography, sunlight and brake fluid rush heavenward. Only silence fills my mind. I am sheathed in the black drapes of obscurity. You were beside me in a dream, quivers of potential pouring from your nape, stained in glass, blurring to a gutless fuzz. Behind this frame I've built, were these easier lives to live? Two 90-degree tooth. Released from obsidian velvet, I find myself upright in my 2-room apartment. Then on all fours. Among these 2 states resides no transition, no movement. I slither over beige carpet bristles, grinding shin and forearm inside the 100-square-foot valley of my off-white walls. They aren't to my tastes, but my lease agreement prevents alterations. I heave myself atop a welcoming mattress. Daylight peeks through the shutters of the northern window. Her tranquil oscillation fixates to the left on a mirror-laden sliding hatch. A clever closet waits behind it. The opposite wall plays royalty over a serf's kitchen. Narrow shelving, recessed counter space, and a mini fridge. Between extremities, the caramel arches of the bathroom meditate, the entryway to my supple lodge of contemplation. The lavatory door faces its lesser cousin, whose hinges guard this domain from the wastelands. My acreage basks in a gentle morning daze. Hazy gusts of mellow whirl above the permissive villages of eye crust and indecision. A casual parish built atop soil of the temporary forever. Gracious ticks, honeydew talks. This hour demands leisure. All possibilities are accounted for. A keen opportunity for natural disaster. Jarring currents of vibration rumble unevenly from below. Static pickings and pokings tumble through my arterial contour. Thuds, clangs, and indistinguishable vowels. On 3, perhaps 4, one of the cretins of the nether units of this building is having some sort of renovation on their floor. A foot soldier is the commandeer of my morning. The contractor of one of these laconic tenets will not shape the sentiment of my morning with his hammer. The ever-fragile seraph of the sun is being roughhoused by another degenerate, blind to the beauty of his telluric mother. Not only is his blasphemic clubber bruising her core, it seeks to leash mine. I am not the dog of his whims. I am fresh from an event far more consequential than any possibility the life of this man can inspire. Yet he demands my audience for his percussion. I will not be subservient, not to a god, much less a fool. The horn of action has sounded. I must prove myself by hero's trial. Magnanimously, I exit my pavilion and descend the common stairwell, down the floors of disquiet to face my foe. On floor 2, a rat king of sinners nests aimlessly behind the doors of the damned. My periphery hosts the locked rooms of the rotted groins of perversia. Scaled creatures whose love-making faintly stalks the sleeping hours. The couches of these unquenchable reptiles croon endlessly in the dark. Below the dens of harlotry, on floor 3, I wade through a marinade of thrush. This clotted moisture oozes from the strained facial creases of overstuffed gastronomers. Masticated poultry screams for salvation inside the bellyaches of their captors. Once more I sink. I can smell it. I need not lower myself further, as I have reached my destination. Floor 4, avarice. Its stench stains the air. Here, sins are not frothing vines constrained to the form of fences, but bacterial moss clutching upon the blindness of stone. Lust is an abscess on the gut of gluttony, just as the tumored gourmand whispers delicious schemes of wealth in the ear of a rapacious executive. I know what is waiting for me beyond the entrance of the quivering room at the end of my sightline. A chubby-palmed lout is pumping hollow floorboards full of the investments of absentee occupants. Milt blurts from my chest with every step. I leak decree. The closer his door travels to my essence, the further it swings open. 1/2 grain of time, and I have paid the entry toll. I face the bent rear of the contractor. At fold, this man is nearly my size. He wears his adequacy, sharpened, rounded trophies of labor cling to his arms. Security blankets of marble that apprentices like me dream of molding. To be the master of self is to be sculpted as this man. Are my words tall enough to meet this titan? Would he be able to hear, let alone respect, the wishes of a lesser body? Besides, what jester believes his words could soften nail and wood? My thoughts don't have time for assessment. A faint melody wails near his feet. A milk crate filled with singing shapes of leather and metal. His tools, all the closer to my fingertips than his. Cloaked in guile, I scurry to my coral godsend, the gleaming elixir of triumph. Eager knuckles wrap around the handle of a workman's hammer, a ladder to reach his heights. Rising and cocking, I cannot help but to grin. I wield the great lawmaker, the prize that delineates man from employee. Only now does he open his eyes to what's behind him. Not 25 seconds of inattentiveness, and he's chained to novel fate. I bang this gavel on his granite shoulder blade. One might have expected a dramatic crunch, but only a taut crackle replied. Notes of fracture weren't the satisfying arrangement my ears fantasized of. My disappointment magnifies as this bone song does not deter his ascent to proper stance. His arm recoils, blindly searching for a fault to shield. My bottom lip recedes bashfully in admission of intimidation. I chose the wrong mark. I'm exposed for what I am, a boy trying to usurp his father. I cannot outmuscle he who will always be greater. I am a life raft floating beside catamaran, a happy servant of his voyage. I am buoyant but cannot wrestle an eddy as he does. I will never be competition. My tangled mast of bravado reveals the flaws of my genes, traits that have been prescribed to me by patriarch, the inherent curse. But I can shed this skin. I have a chance. If I can ever escape the derma of an inferior, it is in this hour. Mother, stretch my devotion across thousands of shoals. Let my inhibition vaporize. I scramble for momentum, refocused. My club smashes his curled arm, safeguard of nothing. Cue his mouth's inaugural volley of arrows. Barbs of broken pleading impotently miss their trajectory. I retort pitilessly with my weapon. His teeth burst in saturnine bliss about our stage. Oh, the warm meadows waiting beyond those freed lips. How lucky I am to traverse them at leisure, fingering gum and cavity with ball peen. I am more than a peer. I am his maestro. I strike his temple, then clavicle. His once unaware foot trembles in rhythm with my might. He's keeping the beat. He must be enjoying himself, so I drum harder. All well-used instruments eventually need maintenance, and I have played mine right out of tune. Vermilion spackle covers tenderized composition. Delicate, broken, realized. I stand tall over my opus, but the curtain calls.